I'm Beth Dunlap with Sunny Bites, here to talk about Springdale, Utah. So when I was planning for our trip into Zion, I wasn't sure if we'd be able to make reservations inside the park at Watchman. So I was looking at areas outside of the park in Springdale. So I'm familiar with the Smoky Mountains. That's right close to my home where I grew up, and I spent a summer out in Yosemite National Park. So the towns that are close to the Smokies and to Yosemite, you would never think that you could just walk into the park and like make it to the visitor center or, to a trailhead or anything like that. So I wasn't really sure exactly when people were saying that Springdale's close, like how close? So the answer to that is close. It's super close. It is probably the most accessible town to a national park that I've experienced. It is right there across a pedestrian bridge. From the visitor center, you just walk across that and then you're there in Springdale. When we were staying in Watchman, there was just a river that was in between us and Springdale, and it was low enough where we could have even just waded across and gone right into Springdale from the campsite. So it's really, really close. So if you're not able to stay in the national park inside of Zion, then staying in Springdale is going to be a great place to stay. Now, one thing, just to share some of our experience with the Springdale Shuttle. So we were never successful taking it except for just one time. We had rented our gear for the Narrows from Zion Guru, and we were too late getting onto the shuttle to go and pick up our gear. The time that the shuttle bus stopped when we were there at the end of May was at 6 p.m. So we were walking to and from the Zion Guru with our gear. On the way back to drop it off, I'm like, okay, we are going to catch this shuttle. So we made sure that we were there well before 6. But my husband and I were just chatting, and we had not ridden the shuttle before. We just weren't paying attention, and we completely missed shuttle bus 1, and we made it to shuttle bus stop number 2. Well, we waited a while. We didn't know what the shuttle bus looks like. Well, they look just like the shuttle buses for Zion, except for they're just not the double ones. And by the time one finally came around, well, it was full from picking up everybody from shuttle bus stop number 1. And the sign outside the shuttle bus just said full, and the bus driver just kind of waved his hands. So just keep that in mind that there is a free shuttle. However, it could be full depending on the crowds that are there during the time that you're there. So just keep that in mind. My advice would be is if you can at all possible stay as close to shuttle bus stop number 1 so you can just walk if needed, if you're able. We did try to get like Ubers and Lyfts, and those are not to be found. So I put together this chart to help clarify any confusion that you might have between the Springdale shuttle and the Zion shuttle. Of course, the times are subject to change, so make sure to check the nps.gov/Zion website for the shuttle information. It also includes information about the Springdale shuttle on that same website. So be sure to check that out before your vacation. But you'll notice that the Springdale shuttle actually starts later and ends earlier than the Zion shuttle starts and ends. So if you've ever gone to Disney, then maybe this is a helpful comparison. It would be like Magic Kingdom and the monorail system opening and starting up and functioning about 2 hours before the buses ever started going to the resorts to pick up guests. There's just a delay in the time that the Springdale shuttle will bring you to Zion versus what time the shuttle bus system actually starts up in Zion. So you can get a much earlier start than what Springdale shuttle would provide. So that means if you're wanting an early start, you're either driving into Zion and trying to find a parking spot at the visitor center, or you can try to find a spot close to shuttle bus stop number 1 in Springdale and pay, because it's just an easy walk across the pedestrian bridge in Springdale. Or you're walking over to there, or providing setting up some type of private transportation if you're able to schedule that up. Also, you kind of want to think of Springdale, even though it's a small town, think of it like you were visiting New York. If you were in New York, you probably wouldn't think about moving your car every time that you were wanting to go to a new location. You would try to either walk or maybe get some type of transportation. That's kind of how you want to think about with Springdale. You really want to try to park your car and just leave it and just walk to the different places. The parking lots that are outside the different restaurants and shops, those are paid parking as well, and if they have customer parking, it's probably limited and a limited amount of time that you can be there. So if you're thinking about going out to a restaurant, you might just want to call ahead and check with the restaurant about the parking situation if you were planning on parking and driving to it. Walking is going to be a great form of transportation for you in Springdale if you're able to do that, and that might be your most reliable source. We enjoyed being able to walk right into Springdale. We ate out one night and it was such a beautiful view from, of course, looking over into Zion. So it was very enjoyable to be able to have just that little small town right there beside Zion. So I have 5 videos total about Zion because it was just confusing to me in planning it. I hope that these 5 videos will help you in your planning process. So thanks so much. Bye.